guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're going to be talking about Lady and the Tramp 2019 on Disney+.
All right, so this is one of the films that launched with Disney Plus. It's one of the Disney Plus originals, and it is just a live-action remake of Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, it's just as cute as ever. I was a little wary how they were going to do the live action with the dogs. Sometimes it can look a little goofy. I think they pulled it off in this one.
Yeah, I have to say, when I first saw the trailer for it, I honestly didn't know if it was real. I kind of thought it was a joke, because it is actually, for the most part, using real dogs. It's not necessarily like the Lion King remake where it's totally CG elements. There are some real dogs and there are real people in a real setting, so I think I like that actually like a little bit more.
Like Brian said, this is a remake version of Lady and the Tramp animation film, and it just brings back all the same charm the original one had. The love story, the romance. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have to say, I haven't seen Lady and the Tramp in a very, very, very long time. So this worked for me. And I think that's the way that these remakes will be more successful. If you use some of the older properties and the less well-known properties. I feel like a lot of people know Lady and the Tramp, but not a lot of people watch Lady and Tramp every single year. So that's why you're getting a new, fresh take on something that maybe you haven't visited in a long time. And it worked for me. And they did change some of the elements. Obviously, they changed some scenes with the Siamese cat because of maybe it not being totally PC in 2019. So there are some slight element changes, but the bare bones story of it remains the same.
So a lot of the music in the film is pretty similar to the original animation film, but there are some newer songs with, like Brian said, with the Siamese cats, but also with Darling when she sings a couple songs as well that are newer.
Yeah. So the computer generated elements in this movie, they are a little bit jarring in my opinion. You get over them pretty quickly, but it is like the Lion King when you see animals talking like humans when they look like real animals. It's like weird, like your mind's like, this doesn't look right. And it does have that same issue. In the beginning of the film, I'm like, wow, this looks really weird when I was watching it. But then you forget that, and as the movie goes along, it doesn't bother you as much. But it still is a strange thing. Like, you're so used to these animated creatures, and when they're animated, it looks so different and believable almost. But when it's real animals talking, it's just a little weird.
It is very weird, and I had to get used to it. Throughout the film, after a while, you just kind of forget about it. But there were those scenes, and also there were scenes where the animals couldn't do some of the scenes, so they used some animation style into it, and it just like messed up the setting a little bit.
You can just tell.
Yeah.
And obviously the budget of this film isn't on the scale of a theatrical release. It isn't on the scale of like Lion King. So when it does go to pure computer generated animals, it looks a little obvious, especially coming back and forth from real animals to computer generated ones. It's not fantastic. It's just not quite there.
Yeah. I really like the voice acting in this movie. I like that what they brought for Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, there's these iconic characters in a way, but Tessa Thompson as Lady and Justin Theroux as Tramp, they had their own stamp on the characters, and I think they did a good job. They embody these characters, and they do a good job conveying the voices. I don't know. Everything about it works pretty well, but it's unremarkable at the same time. Like, it's a cute, fun story, and you're seeing Lady and the Tramp again, but it is, for the most part, just a remake of Lady and the Tramp. So I have to say, if you are one of the people that you would consider like a Disney purist, I think you might not like it if you love the old animation and you just don't want it to be remade into a live-action film for the sake of being live-action. It doesn't add anything new to the story necessarily, but it is kind of nice seeing a modern retelling of it. Getting our initial launch period on Disney Plus, kids are getting to experience this very old story. So I think that part works really well. But as just a main thing, it just doesn't add anything new to the story.
The set design of this film, I thought looked really nice. It's set in Savannah, Georgia, and you just get that same historic feel when you're watching the movie.
Yeah, and the costuming and the vehicles and everything in it, it's kind of immersive. You're thrown into this storyline. Feels like a nice like southern tale. So I like that element of it. Like I said with the previous movie we reviewed, Noelle, I think that when they do physical sets and physical designs, it looks good. But then when they rely on computer-generated elements, it falls a little short. And I think that's going to be a theme for the most part on Disney Plus because of having it be restricted in budget.
So I give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. I thoroughly did enjoy this movie. I thought it was really cute. I love the heartwarming story, the romance between Lady and the Tramp, but it is just a rehash and revisit of the original animation story, and the CG just falls a little short, even though I did like that they use actual dogs in the movie.
Yeah. So if I were to rate this movie, I would actually also give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's enjoyable. If you haven't seen Lady and the Tramp in a really, really long time, like I haven't. It's really fun to revisit this character and see it in a fresh way. But I think if you had just watched Lady and the Tramp and then you watch this one, I don't think you would enjoy as much. I think that's a mistake we made with Lion King and some of the other remakes. If you watch the originals, they're like really good. There's a reason why they're being remade and they've lasted this long. But then when you watch them right up against these new ones, it just loses a little bit of the magic.
Alright guys, so this sums up our review of Lady and the Tramp, the live action version on Disney+. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought. How does it compare to the original? How y'all enjoying Disney+? Remember to like and subscribe. We always appreciate your support, and see you next time.
See ya.